Hi lovelies, it's a beautiful morning here and I thought it would be a really nice time to just take a few minutes and see if we can get through this painting petals tutorial. So this is a tutorial for rose petals and they're fairly simple and fairly quick to make. We'll be doing it in the Strathmore mixed media journal, and these are the type of thing we'll be creating. But before we start, I just wanted to address a couple of things. One, I wanted to say thank you so much to everyone who has subscribed or viewed or liked or commented. I even disliked. I appreciate the feedback and it has made this whole process for me a little bit easier. I have never really been one that likes to be the center of attention, but I'm also fairly grounded and composed and, you know, a conversationalist. I find it easy to talk to people and to meet people, and suddenly I'm in this quiet room talking to a camera and the stage fright is ridiculous. I mean, I'm stuttering and just can't think of words, but you've all made it so much easier and I just wanted to say thank you for that, and hopefully I can get better at kind of putting these videos across. And then the second thing that I wanted to say is I just received these leathers from Peggy Sue, also on Etsy, and I wanted to let you know. So there'll be a video coming on making Travels notebooks, but these are they're beautiful, and so I just wanted to let you know in case you wanted to jump the gun and go and grab some of this. These pieces are fairly cheap. Let's see, so this is the baby blue, I think. This is a king leather, so it's a little thicker, and that's the cream. And then we have, this is so gorgeous. This is the silver on pearl or something like that. It's not sure if you can see, it sparkles incredibly. It's really lovely. It's so soft and very, very thin and fine. And then we have the baby pink. This is gorgeous. This is like a metallic. Not sure if you can see that, but this is really beautiful. And then this is the platinum, which is also gorgeous. And this is the, I think the flesh, which is, yeah, it's a little bit, it's not my favorite, but I think it'll work like for pockets and things like that. So anyway, that is something coming up, and also, you know, visit her site and you'll be able to find some beautiful leathers there. Okay, so on to the actual tutorial. Today we will be painting the petals, and I'll be using the Magello Mission Gold palette. So I've already, I did the other petals with this palette, and so I already kind of know I've mixed up the pink, and it's just the opera rose with some white, and we will get started. Okay, so I'm going to zoom you in a little bit, and hopefully, I'm not sure how to get that kind of. Okay, and so the three brushes that I've been using the most lately are the Da Vinci 2.0, the Escoda 2, and the Escoda 3.0. So you could easily do it with just something like this. You could actually probably do the whole thing with this, but I like to do the veins with the little one just to make sure that I don't sort of accidentally dump a whole lot of paint on there. Okay, so to start with, you're just wetting, you Well, first of all, you just sketch the shape of the petals, and then you just want to wet the whole petal. Grab a little bit of the pale pink, and we're just going to drop that into the whole petal. And you can start to kind of think about where the, the round curves would be. So when you paint, don't just sort of paint in a straight line, but sort of paint with the curves of the petal. And then we don't want very much paint at the base of the petal, because that'll be become yellow, and these would be really lovely, like if you were writing a letter or something like that as well. You could sprinkle petals, painted petals all over the page, or on an invitation. Okay, so that's our first layer complete. And as you can see, it's kind of barely their colour. If you have a heat gun, you can use that at this time as well. Okay, so once that first layer is dry, then and I'm going to switch to the number 2. And basically, you switch just based on the amount of water that the brush holds and what you want to put on the paper. So if you basically don't want as much water going onto the paper, then you can use a small size brush. So now we're going to go back into the light pink. We're going to add a little bit of a darker part of the mixture, and we're just going to start filling in the shadows. So wherever you think there would be, shading on that petal or shadows, you want the round sort of middle. And then you can also add a little bit of shading around the edge here, just to sort of start to incorporate that. And so we'll continue that. So then if you paint somewhere where you kind of didn't want to go, you can either blot it with a tissue or a paper towel, or just use some water in your brush and just lift that off. We're just painting around, kind of leaving highlight in the middle there. Okay, so the next step would be to kind of put in the bottom of the petal, which is going to be, see, we find, so we're going to get a little bit of brown, a little bit of yellow, and a little bit of sort of a couple of greens here. Okay, then we're going to sort of take a mixture of the yellow and the green and just sort of gently easing that into the, I think for this part, a little bit probably more yellow with a little bit of the brown, just letting that kind of go in there. And then we'll come back in with some of the green and we will put that veins in. Okay, so once that's dry, we might actually go in and just put another little layer of pink around, just for the, just building up the sort of shadows on the inside of the petal. Because we want to have the petal shadows finished before we put the veins on. So I like to use Daniel Smith's Moon Glow for the shadows. You can mix up a shadow colour using a little bit of this colour that you've mixed up, the soft pink, with some purple or some blue to neutralise it a little bit, and then you can use that as a shadow colour. You can use a little bit of black as a shadow colour. I generally just like to use the Daniel Smith Moon Glow. So there are so many ways that you can, just because it gives that little bit of shimmer on the paper, it's actually got, you know, a bit of metallic in it. So and again, we're just popping that sort of around where the curves of the petal would be. So the other thing we can do is kind of put a shadow below the petal where we kind of think that shadow would fall. which just helps the petal to kind of jump off the page a bit. Okay, and then the last thing that we do to make the petals come to life, oh, that one there needs. So this is the time too where you can just finish, you know, take as many tries as you like. I'm going to stop here, but you can keep adding layers. You could keep making it more you know, you can keep making it more detailed, more realistic. I don't mind the kind of watercolor effect look, so I'm just going to leave it here. Okay, so for the veins we're going to get a little bit of the pink over here as well, and a little of this. Again, you want to make sure the paper is completely dry before you do this, and so I use this 3-0 so that I'm not getting too much sort of paint coming back onto the paper, and then you just sort of start feathering those out where you think they should go. So there you can see the petals starting. We don't want to go up too high because we're going to put the pink lines in there. Oh, so let's just grab a bit of this pink. And then you just kind of start to feather out. Just where you think they should go. Go on to the next petal. You can see once you start to add the petals, the whole, once you start to add the veins, the whole sort of petal comes to life. Okay. And there we have it. Some gorgeous watercolor rose petals. I hope you enjoyed. Thanks so much for watching. See you soon. Bye guys.